Hello, I'm Liam Horrigan.
And I'm Cara Alberts-Turner, and welcome to You're On Tonight, the podcast all about understudies in the theatre industry, the people who step in and save the day when the unexpected happens.
This episode, we're talking to someone who might just have one of the hardest jobs in theatre. Super swing Megan Armstrong.
She's currently in The Producers in the West End, covering a huge number of roles, and she breaks down what it actually means to live with that level of responsibility.
She also tells an incredible story about playing the woman in black, a job where she literally couldn't tell anyone that she was performing.
We talk about swing eye and what happens when your brain suddenly forgets which role you're doing mid-show.
And how you recover when everything starts to wobble.
It's funny, terrifying, and just wildly impressive.
So, here we go.
Meg Armstrong, you're on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on.
So we've known each other a long time because my first acting job out of drama school was with you doing The Hired Man. And now you're doing The Producers in the West End. How is that going?
Yeah, I am absolutely having the time of my life, to be honest. I think I'm just really grateful to be doing this job that uplifts people, makes people laugh, is ridiculous, allows me to be as ridiculous as I want, which is always a dream for me. And I swing, so I get to do lots of different things every day, and I get to rest a lot as well, so dreams.
And so does your role changing all the time, being a swing and doing all these other things, does that make that a bit easier in terms of like constant change, not just one track, one sort of slog over time?
Totally. I much prefer that. I did do a year contract. I've only ever done one other year contract, which was the Tina Turner musical in the West End, like also understudied in that as well. But it was a lot physically, 8 shows a week. And I just love that variety and freedom that I have.
And that's important as well, isn't it? Because you can't, to be an understudy, to be sat in the dressing room, you can't just be sat there for 3 hours going over your lines every night and going, okay, I move there then and I'll run this track tonight and I'll do that. Like, it's part of being ready is part of, that is part of being ready, sort of enjoying that time and being able to relax so that when they say, you're on.
Yeah.
You're ready for it.
Yeah, and you're never ready. Like, as a swing, you're never ready. Yeah. Like, even if you're like, I should know this, like, it's such a strange thing. You can sit in the dressing room, you're like, okay, I've looked at that map. I know that. We had this ongoing joke with the swings that one of the other swings was doing her maps for this one character. And for about a week, all she'd written down was Sinead goes to 4. And we were all like, Ryan and everyone in the swing dressing room was like, Sinead goes to 4, and that's all she's still got for that track. Because it's so hard. I can write all this stuff down, but the doing the track is what teaches you how to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Even though that can be scary as anything, it's like you can't just sit there and keep going over it and keep practicing. You have to enjoy the in-between and not feel bad about it, because when you do go on, you've got the hardest job that you've got to slot in.
Well, for our listeners, because we've interviewed understudies and all types of understudies, but could you explain what a swing is? Because it's slightly different, isn't it? Than being an understudy.
So to my understanding, a swing is someone who covers all of the ensemble tracks within a show. Usually, it depends on the show and the parts that within that show, but usually in sort of a commercial musical, swings cover all the ensemble tracks, and then covers or understudies cover the featured roles or the roles within the show. So within this show, I swing all the female ensemble, and I also understudy Hold Me, Touch Me, which is the grandma part that has a funny few little scenes. So yeah, that's my understanding.
Oh, sorry about this.
Sorry, 1 second.
Hello. Oh, hi, it's Andy. Andy, our omnipotent company manager. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Sorry, give us 1 second.
There's a problem. She's accidentally gone back in time.
What?
Oh, that's terrible and such a rogue thing to happen. Yeah, okay. Oh, she needs to find 1.21 gigawatts of energy to come back.
I mean,
that is so typical. Enough. All right, I'll tell her. Thanks. Cheers. Bye. Meg, I'm so sorry, but that was Andy, our omnipotent company manager, and apparently there's been a problem with the principal cast. And you're on tonight.
Da, da, da. I was wondering what the phone was for.
Do we have time?
Yeah, we've probably got a bit of time. Should we
Okay.
just plough through?
I guess we better get going. Well, the first question, besides that very exciting phone call there, what is the most memorable time you've been told you're on tonight?
Very recently, actually, my first time going on for the producers was with 10 minutes notice.
Oh.
It was just after
Two complete opposite reactions. Excitement and glee and just terror.
It was just after the quarter, and I just sat there and they were like, okay, something's happened. You might need to go on. I was like, right, might or definitely, because times are ticking.
So they're saying might at 10 minutes.
At 10 minutes before.
Amazing.
And I was like, can we confirm? And I go very calm in that situation. I don't know whether it's repression or whether I eat pressure for like breakfast, lunch and dinner. I'm not sure. But I was like, just give me the answer and then let me know. So then they came back up and they said, yes, you're on. So everyone's running around and I'm sat there in my hoodie, my trackies, no makeup on, my hair not in a pin curl. And I just start slapping foundation onto my face. And the swings are looking at me and it's just this like no dimensional, just like foundation I'd never put on before. And it was not my colour. I was like, right, interesting. And then, yeah, I just did it. We only went up like, I think 5 minutes late.
Wow.
And I opened the show. So that was for the Shirley track, which is the
I saw, yeah.
usherettes that opened the show. So it was for that
So
track.
there's
I'm
no
first-
like, oh, I've got 5 seconds. It's the first person on.
First on, going, opening night. It's opening night. Yeah. So that was the most recent one. An interesting one was Avenue Q, where I was thrown on whilst being on. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
You were on
Yeah, yeah.
stage, you were performing a track.
yes.
And was that
And
your
they-
regular, normal,
My
everyday
regular,
track?
normal,
Okay.
everyday track. And then I was suddenly thrown on. So in Avenue Q, there's the lead characters that voice multiple puppets.
Right.
And as the track that I was in, I would mime the voice with the other puppet.
Right.
So, and I also covered the other part that did that. So it was a brain
Yeah.
Yeah.
mesh up. But so I was on stage being Kate Monster, mute Kate Monster, as the actress who played Lucy was singing, I can make you feel special. So I sat there, doing my little silent puppet acting, and she goes off after special and is meant to come straight back on. We swap puppets and I go off to get the next puppet. She goes off after this song and does not return. So I'm stood there with the puppet on my arm that's about to speak the next line. I'm like, right, what do we do here? I must just start. I'll just open my mouth and speak.
Oh my goodness.
So then, yeah, I just started doing that understudy, which I hadn't done in months, or, I was just purely pulling off my brain power. And we went for about 5 minutes before they then stopped the show, because they were like, okay, we can't continue. But yeah, we went all the way to the next number. I think everyone was putting my mic up, all of this. And I was just like, hi, Princeton. I don't even remember what the line was. Hi, Princeton or something. And yeah, I just went into it. So I was literally, you're on. No one came
you had
on.
to tell yourself you were on.
Yeah, we've never had a story
we've
that's
never
like that
had
before.
that. That's incredible. So you're stood there going, the next line needs to be said. If I don't say it, no one's going to say it.
Exactly.
I cover this role,
Yeah.
thank goodness. I'm just going to, okay, I'm on. I'm now this character.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Were you on stage on your own at that moment?
There was a few of us, but
Any panicked side eyes to each
of
other?
course, many panic side eyes. Always. That is part of being a swing. It's literally called swing eye. Do you know of it?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Sounds like a condition.
Yes, it is. You've got to have very agile retina.
Can you explain that? So
when
Swing
you're
eye.
on stage as a swing and you're doing something for the first time.
Yeah.
You can always tell because the head doesn't move, the face doesn't move, but the eyes just move to check, where am I? Am I doing the right thing? But without making it too noticeable for the audience. So that's kind of a
amazing.
phrase like, get your swing eyes out tonight.
And that's, I'm guessing, a lot of the time because you're doing dance numbers and things, you need to be very aware of safety, things like that. Constantly
yeah.
looking at your positioning, stuff like that.
Yeah, like you can practice something without 30 people on stage and suddenly
Yeah.
you're in the middle of someone, you're
Yeah.
being bashed, the lights are on you, you cannot see a thing. So you're just like, I just know I'm in between this person and this person. So, okay, we're good, we're safe.
Yeah. Because as a swing, you're doing the same dance routine, but in like 8 different positions on
Yeah.
stage. So it's not, I suppose it's less about the moves and it's more about where am I doing the moves in a way.
Totally. Which
Yeah.
direction am I going? Also, which harmony line am I singing with said moves? Because we vocally swing on this show. On Producers, we vocally swing as well.
So,
Yeah.
no,
amazing.
just for my absolutely pedestrian brain. So that
Go.
means that every time you go on as a different track, a different character, essentially, it changes not obviously just what you're saying and the position that you're dancing, but also the way you sing the song each time.
Yeah.
That is so much to learn
Yeah.
and go over.
So the last time you did the show was in China.
So yeah, I did a production of it in China and we actually had to change a lot of the production for certain places that we were going to. So we weren't allowed to say certain words
Because
in
the
the show.
producers is about 2 producers trying to put on the most offensive, most worst show
Yeah.
they can put on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it's called Springtime for Hitler.
Yes.
Is it? So there were parts of China where you couldn't say certain things politically, or was it?
We couldn't say the word Hitler
That's in the show a lot.
at all.
Yeah.
We had to change every single word. We had to sing Springtime for Adolf and Germany.
Fascinating.
So
Give you a reason why?
I think Beijing didn't want us to say the word. So we had to change the whole show. And then it was so hard to change the whole show that we just kept it that way. Because the leads
Yeah.
who like say it every other word were so confused. But it's so different doing it in the UK. Because in China, the show had subtitles.
Right.
And the audience would laugh a lot at like the physical comedy
Yeah.
aspects and the script and all those like amazing like witty
Yeah.
lines that are within the show kind of just got lost literally in translation. I think the song Keep It Gay was translated to Keep It Happy. So
Right.
you know
So the joke doesn't really
the joke does
work.
not land. So, but we just had the best time. And I think doing a comedy show where people just don't laugh in the right places is so fab.
Yeah.
Because you just have no ego about it. Like sometimes in this show, people are like, oh, that was a terrible audience. And I'm like, you've not performed to 11 people doing a comedy in China.
Yeah.
And I think being a swing and stuff, you generally have less attachment to that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't feel like, oh, this is my role or you don't have as much of an attachment to the way that it's done because it's
Right.
always going to be different for
Yeah.
everybody when you go on anyway. So it is kind of freeing in that way. It's like, I'll go on and
Yeah,
do
that's
what
really
I want
interesting,
and see
though,
what it lands.
Because
like.
you could take the opposite view, right? Of being like, I suppose, comparing yourself to, oh, that person does this and then this gets. But by giving yourself the freedom, you can just go on and do it. That's such a great mentality.
Yeah, I guess it is a perspective shift, and that's one that I have had to gain for myself. Because if you do compare yourself or try to emulate someone else's performance, you can just feel the lack of like authenticity in it. So where I can, I just completely try to do my own thing.
And you've done so many roles within a show. So you've played, roles, and you've been a swing and you've been a cover. I suppose is it uncommon for swings to have done all the different types? Because I know lots of people will be swings and they make a career out of just being a swing.
I think what I've done is probably less common because my first job was a swing on Cats, where I was an offstage swing covering all the parts, like 6 different cats or whatever. And I haven't been a swing since then.
Right, okay.
So that was 11 years ago, and now this is only my next time being a swing. So it's interesting this time that I'm at now that I've kind of come full circle. But there is a thing with swinging that people say, oh, once you're a swing, you'll be stuck as a swing forever. Like it's a kind of like threat.
Right.
I'm like, that sounds quite good to me. And I think I sort of subscribed to a lot of that when I first came out of drama school, because that's what a lot of people say, like, oh God, you don't want to be a swing, like they'll put you in a box or you'll become like too useful or all of that kind of stuff. But then actually, as I've matured and got older and decided what I really want to do, I'm like, oh, actually it suits me so much more if I let go of all that, like what you should do within the industry.
With that then, one of the things that you do alongside yoga and doing swing understudy work 7 days a week is human design. So can you tell us a bit more about that and how that interacts with the other work that you do?
Yeah, so human design it's kind of like an astrological based system, but it shows you a blueprint of your energy. It's kind of like science meets ancient spirituality, and it's kind of meshed into a system that shows you like an electrical kind of circuit. Everyone's different and everyone's got different gifts and everyone's got different kind of challenges. And I work with people one-to-one to help them work with those gifts and challenges and show us how we were all very unique and different. Like it's also called human design, it's called the science of differentiation, like how we are all different, and it's physically in a chart that tells you how you're different. So that has been so amazing for myself as well, because in human design I'm a type that's called a projector. So I'm here to guide people and direct energy. I'm not here to do all the doing, which was like when I discovered this and found this out, it was like freedom for me, because I was like, I've always felt like I'm surrounded by people who are different to me, and I don't have the energy to keep going all the time. And the way that this system works, it showed me like, okay, Megan, you don't have consistent access to energy. Like you're here to be successful, but in a different way by helping to guide other people to be successful. And I was like, that makes so much sense. And it's really helped me lean into being an offstage swing as well, because when I have been doing 8 shows a week, I've burnt out. I've got ill. I've got all these like strange things that happen to me when I'm in a job and I'm just doing too much physical activity. And a system like human design has really given me the biggest permission slip to be more myself.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as well, because in that you talked about essentially redefining success for yourself. And I think that's really important in terms of what we feel like is a successful life changes as we get older and we get that perspective. And so relatives of mine or other people who aren't necessarily in the industry might think that being an understudy doesn't sound like it's a successful thing, because they're like, surely you want to be the lead.
Yeah.
But then also you think that, and that translates into how you think maybe when you're younger and you're coming out of drama school, you're getting into the acting industry, and redefining what success is basically just like what makes you happy, isn't it? And that's a really important thing. It's a very empowering thing to be able to take something like that and go, this is going to redefine what I think success is and how I relate to the work I do. Because ultimately that's how we're going to get happiness in our work, isn't it? So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and totally. It's all about like deconditioning the stuff that we think we needed to be.
Yeah.
And I totally believe that success looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, and the more that I like dive into that work for myself and also with other people, it proves that to me every single day. Like, I am not the same as you. So why would I follow the same path? And I think drama school, or anyone who goes to drama school, that's where a lot of those problems can begin.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's like, this is the one way to be successful. And it just is ridiculous, in all honesty.
And it doesn't make for a long career because you're trying to do what everyone else thinks is successful. So I suppose if you're doing what everyone else thinks is successful and it doesn't fit your mold, you're gonna burn out or choose a different path because it doesn't work for you. Whereas finding what works for you within the industry you love, you've had a really successful long career. I think that's amazing.
Because if you're trying to do something to prove something to anyone, just give up now. Stop. Rewind the tapes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I definitely don't want to do 8 shows a week. I said it.
Yeah.
Not for a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everything has its parameters. And I just know, like, my limits, everyone has different limits, but what magic can you create within those limits? Like,
we have a section on the show called Hero and Horror Stories. Do you have any good hero and horror stories that you could share with us?
I can only recall one very recently. I was doing 2 different tracks last week, and so I switched from one to the other. And it's not just confusing for the people on stage, it's confusing for everyone backstage.
Right.
This is what people kind of don't know. Like, something like the producers is costume change chaos. Like, your backstage track is more busy than your onstage track. You're off, wig, this change. Like, it is so speedy. So often when I'm hopping between tracks, I'll come off and you see the dressers like go, like, who are you? Like, where are you going? What am I putting on you? Or like, someone else's jazz shoes are there and you're like, these are my jazz shoes. And then, trying to like frantically whisper while you've got 30 seconds to get a change. So I think in this show, a lot of the frantic horror stories have been off stage, and then suddenly you come on and you're like, nothing happened. Like,
nothing happened. Side eye.
swing eye. But one thing happened this week. We've got this bit in the show where all the grannies jump off a trampoline. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And
it's so great out of context.
Yeah, fill in the blank. And it's different for each person, obviously. And I was doing a track I hadn't done in a while, and I jumped on the trampoline at the same time as someone else. I was like, la 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 la, and we both jumped on the trampoline at the same time, and I was like, no. And then, but we just bounced together and just crossed. It was so planned and perfect, and the audience never would have known. But I was like, okay, what was that? Nolan, who I jumped on, I was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, it's fine, we jumped as one. It was so like fabulous, but it could have been really dangerous. Like like when you bounce on a trampoline and someone goes,
you double bounce,
double bounce.
So my whole childhood doing that to my siblings.
So it could have been disastrous.
You did it in front of a couple thousand people. Yeah, great.
But I came off and I was just like, oh my, like you cannot control things that happen, or even when you like for a second forget what you're doing. Strange things can happen. So that's my recent horror story that I can think of. Hero story. I think just being a swing, you just kind of feel like the hero all the time. You're kind of like, it can be a bit of a boost for your ego sometimes as well, because it's kind of like, I can do that. I can jump in there, or, end up doing tracks that aren't within your that aren't within things that you cover. Like I'm gunning for a third cover Franz in
Right.
in The Producers.
Cool.
You know the guy who plays the German role?
Yes.
I know every line. All the swings. All the swings.
So you could do it.
I could do it for sure.
If that happens, please call us.
I will. I'm
So you're just hoping that basically enough people people go down one day. So it's like, I can do it.
Yes.
My time has come. I'll volunteer as tribute.
That's amazing.
I'm ready.
Absolutely.
When you said Franz, I was like, I think I know who that is, but surely that's not who you mean. He's like a 6 foot German man. Love that.
I'm ready.
You're ready?
I've been ready.
It can happen. When I did Cluedo 1 touring in 2022, where there were only 2 understudies, myself and my now wife, who was understudying the female
amazing.
track. But enough people went down that I had to go on like 10 minutes before the show as the female ensemble track. And I was just like,
Yes.
I mean, I know the line, so I can do it if you really want. And they were like, okay. And I was like, okay. So it can happen. You can't just be asked to do things that you've never been contracted to do.
I played Dead You.
You played Dead Me.
And it got a laugh when they brought the body back on. It was just like, that's not
the same
Liam.
person.
But yeah, have there been any like specific moments you remember of like going on for tracks that you weren't contracted to do?
I remember my first job, Cats, I had like 4 covers. 3 first covers, 1 second cover. And they were like, first job, I was like, what do we do? And Chrissy Cartwright, director of Cats, was so lovely. She was like, focus on your first covers. It's like, just focus on your first covers, get them down. And then once we get to Blackpool, we will, get your cover run done and all that. Cut to press night of Blackpool. Megan, do you think you could do Jelly Lorem tonight, which was my second cover? I was like, yeah, sure. Of course, like, new graduate, like, never would say I don't know it. I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I'll, see you soon. Learning the words to the song that day. I was like, right, better just go on. And I did.
And how did it go?
Great. Amazing.
I think you just have to be okay with it not being perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
You cut yourself the slack, don't you?
Yeah. And I think there is something within me that does love that pressure. I'm just like, well, it could go wrong.
Yeah.
And most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And most of the time when it does, it's not a health and safety thing like the trampoline. Most of the time it's just I forgot that word. Oh, I was stood in the wrong place.
Yeah.
The chaos is fun.
Yeah, and it is fun. And you forget that it makes everyone else's experience on the stage more fun.
Yeah.
As well. Like they're doing the same thing day in, day out. And to see a different face or someone who, has got energy for the show because they've not been doing it 8 shows a week. Everyone's like, oh, yay, like someone fresh with some like energy that then they can feed off as well. So it does really shift the whole dynamic, and everyone in the show loves the chaos.
Like I mean, we're definitely biased because we have this podcast, but I love it when I go see a show and I'm like, oh, there are understudies on or covers or swings, because you know that and it happens to everyone. If you're doing a year-long contract, that midweek matinee where you've got to keep enough in the tank for the one later, and you're just trying to, and you're tired and whichever. If there's understudies, covers, swings on, the energy goes back up. So in a way, as an audience member, you're sitting there going, I'm getting the best of this show because I'm not getting tired brains and tired, because you have to just switch on. Because I think for people on stage who are on stage every night, someone else on, they do go, okay, I gotta focus because it's slightly different. And it's kind of lucky when you get to see understudies in that way for lots of reasons, but particularly because, okay, everyone on stage is doing their best work because it's new, it's different than it has been for the 200, 300, 400 shows you've just done.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Muscle memory is an amazing thing because it means that you can do things with like minimal brain effort by just rinse and repeat a lot of the time. But when you see an understudy on, there is no muscle memory. It is a fully alive performance.
It's alive,
People are all reacting to what that person's doing, and you're right, it's so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, and you hear like a different way that they sing that note or a different intonation, and it's like, oh, like I'm always doing it if I'm watching Ollie, who's one of our swings, on for Leo, which is, he's been on quite a lot for that role and it's so fun. I'm just like, oh yeah, the way he sings that note
Yeah.
or the way that he does that. And it's no disservice to anyone who does the track every night, but then it's also a celebration of those people who, you don't do this. And then
Yeah.
you go on and you do it
Yeah.
like a full performance in front of all those people. Like, you don't get rehearsal. I think maybe there's a what's the word? Misconception that you get a lot of rehearsal. You do not. I don't know what your experiences have been like, but it's like, learn it,
Yeah.
make sure you know it, and, you know, be ready at any
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I feel like any experience I've had understudying, it's like you'll learn each part and you'll get like signed off, as they say, on the part. So you'll learn the part and then you'll do a rehearsed performance of it with some of the other cast members.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, right, that's signed off. We can say that you're like completely rehearsed to that. But the difference between you rehearsing that part as a cover and the principal cast, they get weeks to rehearse it. You get a matter of hours, essentially, over a few sporadic days here and there.
Yeah.
And that's if you get a chance to fully rehearse it. A lot of the time, as you say, you're thrown on for your second cover and you're learning the lines on the train in.
Like, and I think if you're rehearsing the role from the beginning, you get to make all your mistakes before, and you just don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
As when you're like, my mistakes are visible for the world to see, which, you know, it is wild. Like, I have been reminded, I feel like I'm reminded every job. You do a job and then you forget what the process is like of learning a show and learning all the things. And you're like, this is the hardest thing ever. And then suddenly you're like, oh, right, that's fine. I can do it. But I forget, like, every time.
Yeah. So you were in The Woman in Black and you played the Vision, which I guess listeners who've seen it might think of it also as the woman. It's this the woman in black.
The woman.
But it was very unique. That's a very unique situation because you weren't allowed to tell people you're doing the show.
Yeah.
You weren't in the program as that character. Your headshot. That wasn't in the program, and you weren't allowed to. You didn't bow because I guess it's to keep the illusion alive that there is this spirit in the theatre of it. Like, what is that like?
I think it was a real, like, test for me. I feel like I've been in lots of roles in my life where I've been like literally mute or literally like invisible, and I feel like it's like an interesting ego test. Like, how much do you actually value yourself, or how much do you put your value on getting the bow or having like something to do or having people like clap you know, like you really have to check your relationship with your own self-worth. So I think especially in The Woman in Black, it was one of those roles where we'd just come out of COVID and all that time, and you know, everyone's searching for any job, like just
any
put
purpose.
put me on a stage somewhere. And I got this audition come through for like The Woman in Black, and my friend was so excited. She was like, it's my favorite thing ever. She's like, this is what the woman does, and we practice. She said she needs to glide and walk like this. I was like, right, we're just gonna see what happens. I'll go in. And I went in, had this audition, and we just spoke for about 20 minutes, just like normal chit chat about jobs that I'd done or just general chit chat. And then he just said, right, I'm going to read this bit of script. And we were in like a conference room with a big, long, rectangular table. He was like, so I'm going to read this bit of script. And can you just walk to the top of the table, around the back and down the other side of the table, please? Like a ghost. Yeah, and that was my audition. And then I got the job 2 days after.
One day, one audition.
One day, one audition. Auditioned on the Wednesday, got the job on the Friday.
That's amazing.
And in that audition, did they explain to you, look, this is how this role works? Or was that a later thing? Because I've never heard of this ever before.
No.
Really?
This could happen in a show where you don't get to bow. You don't. You know, there's the illusion's not shattered at the end.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that they had always done it, because this production was like 35 years old, and even the voice, I didn't even get to voice the character. There's one bit within the show where she's reading out a letter, and it was the same voice from 35 years ago. They would just play the same recording. But yeah, I kind of knew, and I went in and they got me to sit in rehearsals, and I was just watching the two like lead actors rehearsing, and then he would just be like, okay, now Megan, can you just get up, just walk onto stage. I used to walk down some stairs. And I was like, right, okay. And then just go around and just walk across there. And I was like, right, okay. And then, yeah, I would do like 10 minutes of walking in Act 1 and, like 5 minutes of walking in Act 2. And that was me.
Wow.
And we only had to come in at the half. So I literally only had to arrive at the half, only had to start putting my makeup on when the show started. And then, yeah, did my little bits. And then otherwise was in the dressing room doing my yoga, doing some bits, doing some reading. It was so bizarre, but such a solitary experience, but it was sort of perfect for me at the time for what I needed. I felt like I had this little mini flat in London. I've never had my own dressing room. I'm a swing and an understudy and an ensemble member. Like, I'm lucky if I've got a dressing room that isn't like piled on top of like 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is it.
Amazing.
I've made it.
I've got my own dressing room.
Yeah.
So I loved that aspect of it. But the thing of like not even being mentioned or credited or not being able to talk about it was kind of freeing. And after I left that job, actually, I went into Tina Turner, the musical, which is opposite energy, like so much energy. But there's a few moments in that show where we would walk around, like, holding a candle or whatever, ensemble walking, and the associate choreographer was like, Megan, can you like walk normally? I was like, what?
That's it, like a
she was
ghost?
like, kind of staying on one level. She was like, can you just walk? I was like, sorry, I've been gliding for 9 months. I cannot. Sorry.
That's amazing.
So cool.
We've talked to a couple of other people about kind of are you doing this job because you want to be, do you love acting or do you love being an actor, right? Like, I guess like the experience of being an actor and the the stage door signatures and the applause, which there's understandably that bit is a good bit, but a lot of understudies, they just love the acting, they love the work, and that is an extreme version to not get any of that accolade bit, just to really love doing the work. I think that's amazing and speaks to your character so much that's like such a. It's the experience of what we get to do is the bit that you love, rather than and like I said, it's great. You get the claps and you get the signatures, but I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Can I ask, just because we're on The Woman in Black?
Oh yes, this is the whole reason we're doing this podcast, is to get an answer to this question.
Give it to me.
So I'm sure you've heard of it. There is a very famous story in the industry of an understudy that for a very long time has never performed, and finally one day they get told, it's happening, you're going on stage, and they're like, I'm just going to get something from my car, and they are never seen again, right? I'm guessing you've heard the story.
Yes.
So we have been trying to trace the origin of this story. We talked to a guy called Clive, who's been an understudy on The Mousetrap for like 15 years.
And before that, he did Women in Black.
In Black, and he had heard the story, and he thought it was probably on The Mousetrap, but wasn't sure. So we're wondering if you have got any insight about that.
I have heard that this is from The Woman in Black.
Okay.
Yes, but only recently, because I knew the story, and then someone was like, you do know that was from The Woman in Black? And I was like, what? It's like mind blown. So, I mean, I don't have the receipts, but I also think that is true.
Amazing.
And did you hear about that for the first time when you went on The Woman in Black? Or?
No, like recently.
Okay. They didn't want to say it out loud in case someone got some ideas.
Yeah. They thought it might have been you. They were like, oh, I know she was on The Woman in Black. It might have been.
Yeah. But it's maybe that was because the ASM does cover the woman. Maybe it was like someone who literally was like, I don't want to do that.
Can you explain that setup a little bit more? So because assistant stage manager, ASM.
Yeah, because there's so little people in the cast. Even when the production is on tour, they used to do it where they like got like a local woman from every town. You know, a bit like when you do a tour of like a musical like Joseph and the kids are like,
Just always.
They got a local.
They just go into the pub and be like,
well, I'm not
come
sure
here.
how the process happens, but they would just source said woman from each town. And because it takes like an hour to put her in, they would just do like a tech and put her in and be like, this is you for the week. Walk, walk, walk.
The logistics of that must have been so annoying for the person trying to figure out who that was each week.
But I guess to get someone to go on a tour to walk around for 10 minutes each show might be like, I don't want to do that.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, that's what I've heard happens on the tour. So that is interesting in itself. But yeah, in the West End production, because there's just minimal cast, even the costume I was wearing was like, I don't even know how old that was. It was like falling off me. It was like rips and this. I was like, what cupboard of 1970 has this come from? And there's only the two leads, and then they've got an understudy each off stage because they're substantial parts. But then the woman, it's kind of like, well, you can't hire someone to be off stage to understudy that. So the ASM, the assistant stage manager who does all the props business throughout the show, is the cover. So yeah, they have to be ready to do it. And when I did it, the ASM did go on.
Right.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow.
And she was terrified, I think. But it's so scary. Like, I remember doing it. Like, I'm a performer and an actor and a dancer, and I'm used to walking up and downstairs in the dark, like random skills you pick up from being, you know, in shows. And I was like, God, I was like terrified the first time, like walking in the dark with that veil on, like trying to
trip. The illusion is gone.
Yeah, you can't start that out.
Yeah, like you can't. And
you've
there's
got
so
to-
much stairs walking, like up and down, and you can't look down. Ghosts don't look down.
Yeah.
So
You can't have swing eye on that show.
no, you absolutely can't. So I really feel for anyone who has to just jump in with, like, most of the time, no acting
Yeah.
experience. It's mostly walking, but you do have to like come out and do like a big scare at the end, and then there's the whole rocking chair moment where you're rocking. So it's like there's stuff to do. But yeah, I think the story does come from that. So maybe it was someone like that within the show, an ASM who was like, no, I never thought this day would come, and it's come, and now
I'm off.
I'm gonna run.
But what's
get my
interesting
makeup
about
from the
that,
car.
if that's the case, so if we've narrowed it down, that it was an ASM who didn't want
I'm
to go
loving
on,
this whole
right?
narrative we've created that
Yeah,
could never
I'm-
be
I'm sticking
might
with
not
it.
Be true. Okay.
If the ASM got in the car and went away, who's next? Like, who's the understudy there?
Well, clearly a woman in the audience that day that
That's
picks
what I
up
mean.
three number.
Local woman.
Local woman.
woman.
Stick a veil on her, off you pop. Yeah, we don't know what happened there, but
That's amazing.
the show must go on, so I'm sure they would have found a way. Or what happened a lot, they would call back like
Yeah.
Right.
ex women,
Yeah.
ex ghosts. And I have this theory that if two visions meet, the world will explode.
Amazing.
Because I've never met one.
Because do you know who they are?
No.
No, not allowed to talk about it.
Real. I've never met another woman.
You here?
I've never met another woman.
That's so interesting.
That's going to be the promo for this episode, by the way. I've never met another woman.
If someone was to say they wanted a sort of such a varied and successful career as you are having, what kind of advice would you give them?
I think I would say be okay with the unknown, because I think often people have a really set, clear plan of what they want, and that can work really well for people. But I think staying in that place of like possibility where you're like, okay, I'm open to what's next, and I'm not super fixed in my direction. I think that's really been helpful for me. I think everything that people maybe expected of me has kind of just not happened. And if I had have been like, oh no, I've got to do that or do what people expect of me, I wouldn't have had half of the career that I have had so far.
So we like to finish the interview with a sort of quick fire questions, which do not require quick fire answers.
Okay.
I can't stress that enough because
was
it's not a
getting
yes, no,
tall and ready.
red, blue.
Alert.
Take your time with the answers, but they're kind of quick fire questions from us. So,
What's been the proudest moment of your career?
First thing that came to my head was singing for the Queen when I was 12.
well, you have to explain that. That's fantastic.
That was really random that came to my head. I was in the Anglican Girls' Cathedral Choir in Liverpool when I was like 11, 12. And we sang at the Maunday service, which is like Boxing Day or something. I can't remember now. And yeah, we sang for the Queen. And we all did a little handshake with her afterwards. Yeah, and it was just very bizarre. I was just there as a little girl singing some, classical stuff. And yeah, sang for the Queen.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's a
I was
great
proud,
answer.
yeah.
Amazing. Okay. What's the hardest part about being an understudy?
Never feeling fully ready. I think, yeah.
If we walked into the dressing room, what are we most likely to find you doing?
My dressing room space is a mess, first of all. Like a mess. Like, I just can't, I don't know how people keep their space tidy.
No,
I don't know
either.
what it is. I've just got
You're in good
stuff
company here. Yeah.
everywhere. I am probably using my 7-star plum blossom hammer on my head, which is kind of like a hair follicle stimulating routine. All the swings laugh at me. I also have a tuning fork, which is just for like cleansing my aura, cleansing all the bad vibes out of the room. I'm probably doing some facial cupping or a bit of yoga. I'm up to all sorts.
Amazing.
I'm up to all sorts. But yeah, the consistent thing is that it's a mess.
Yeah.
But it's the desk is a mess, but the space is the air.
My
the
aura is clean.
I love that.
My desk is a mess.
What is the name of your understudy group chat?
Ooh, it's called Swing Wing.
Love that.
Because the male and female swings have a little mini swing wing where we have a door that we share, and then both of our rooms like look opposite each other. So it's like, and we can close the door. It's like a little secret wing.
That's good.
That's cool.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. Hello. Oh, it's Andy again. Andy,
it's
manager.
Andy.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, how's she doing? She's going to stay there. She's going to stay there in 1955? 1955, yeah, she's going to stay there. All right. Well, you're on for the long haul then. All right, I'll tell her. Thanks. Cheers, bye. Meg, I'm so sorry, but you do have to go because you are on tonight.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
That's it from us this week. You've been listening to You're On Tonight, produced by and recorded at The Sound Company in London.
And if you've enjoyed the show, turn on automatic downloads to never miss an episode. Like, subscribe, share, follow, etc., etc., etc. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at You're On Tonight. And tell your friends, spread the word, pass this episode around.
And get in contact. If you have comments, suggestions of guests, questions on how understudying in the industry works, let us know. Or if you're an understudy with fantastic stories you want to share, then get in contact through all of those socials at You're On Tonight.
Maybe you'll be called by the understudy phone soon.